So I just kind of want to talk through a little bit about graphing with parameters, or if you're given 2 points, just so maybe it'll help out a little bit if you can't understand my writing that I wrote all over the page. So if we're graphing with parameters, so any time that you want to write an equation, you're either going to be given 2 points or you're going to be given a graph in which you have to find those 2 points. So your first step, no matter what, is you want to label a maximum and a minimum on the graph. So they have to be consecutive maximums and minimums. So what I mean by that is you don't want to choose a maximum, go another period later, and choose a minimum. You want to choose either maximum with the following minimum or a minimum with the following maximum. It's up to you. There is going to be a difference depending on what order you choose, and that's what happens when I get to that little note at the bottom of the page where you see max and min, positive amplitude versus negative amplitude. So just keep that in mind. So your first step, whenever you get these 2 points, is you want to determine your vertical shift, because that's your new midline. So if you think about it, if I have a maximum, say here, oh boy. Actually, we can just, well, yeah. If I have a maximum and then a minimum here, if you want your vertical shift, you want that average point here. Because remember, your amplitude has to be exactly halfway up and then halfway down. So in other words, to get your K, or your vertical shift, you're just taking the average of your Y values, because remember, a vertical shift, you're either going up and down, so that's only affecting your Y values. So you would take your Y max value plus your Y min value, and then divide that by 2 to get your average. That's how you get your vertical shift. So that kind of leads into the amplitude. Remember, that's your deviation from your midline. Your midline is your new axis here. So you need to be exactly halfway from your midline to either your maximum and also to your minimum. So to get that, you would actually take your maximum Y value, subtract your minimum Y value, divide that by 2, and you want the absolute value. Remember, you want the absolute value because amplitudes always have to be written positively. If they are negative, you just say that it's the positive version and then flip. So that's how you get the amplitude. Your next step is you want to determine the period. So when you're determining the period, you're going to take 2 times your x max value minus your x min value. If you think about it, say we have a sine graph, so we have something like this. So I have my maximum here, and then I have my minimum here. If I subtract this distance here, and then I multiply it by 2, I'm going to have my entire period worth, because that distance here will also be equivalent with that and that added together. I know it might be a little bit hard to visualize, but that is how it works. It's essentially halfway between them. It's a little bit easier to visualize on a cosine graph, because if you think about it, a max to a min is exactly halfway through what you're doing, and then you're just multiplying it by 2. So once you have that period, you're able to find your frequency using that peanut butter pie analogy. B times B equals 2 pi, peanut butter pie. So then lastly, we've done everything except for the phase shift. Well, the phase shift, remember, that's your new starting point. So for sine, you have to do a little bit of an adjustment. You're going to actually take your max x value and your min x values, whatever the x coordinate is that. You're going to add them together, so x max plus x min, and you're going to divide that number by 2. The reason you're doing that is, if you think about it, what you're getting when you take the average of those points is you're getting the one right in between. So you're getting that as your starting point. Now if you notice, for a sine function, you can actually start at any intercept here. But depending on what max and min you choose, it's going to vary. So if I'm starting here, then this is my phase shift there. For cosine, it's actually really convenient. You just take the x value of your maximum, because if you think about it, remember over here, you always start a cosine graph at a maximum. Well, if you already have the coordinate of your maximum, then you're just going to shift it over to that x value. And then your last step is to bring it all together and write your equations. Obviously, these two equations are going to be very similar. All it's going to change is your h value because your shift will be different. So this kind of leads into a positive amplitude versus a negative amplitude. So I drew it on your sheet, but if you think about it, if I choose my max here and my min here, I'm finding that average value here. So if I'm saying that my graph is starting here, well then to get one full cycle, I would be going down first and then up. So if I'm going down first, remember your graph is flipped. So just when you're writing your equation, make sure you have a negative, and then if there's a number with it, you put a number there, and then sine, cosine, or sorry, it would just be with sine. This is only with sine. Likewise, if you choose then a minimum before a maximum, well the average value that you're getting is going to be right here. So then that's going to be normal. It's just going to be positive amplitude because if you think about it, you're going to be starting here and then one full cycle goes like that. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. If you ever have that, please, please, please be on the lookout if your maximum comes first or your minimum comes first. So that's why if you're given 2 points, try to draw a quick little sketch so you can see what comes first. Like if you're given, I don't know, 1, 1, and then you might be given 3, 4. Well, your minimum is going to come first, so then you can start with a positive amplitude at top. So that's what I mean by just a quick little sketch. It doesn't have to be anything pretty, just like that. So take some time, go through the examples in your notes packets. You have those 4 questions where I give you the graph, so you're going to have to identify a maximum and minimum point, and then you'll just do it. And then there's 3 examples where I actually give you the 2 points, and then you go ahead and solve it. So hopefully what I wrote down should help you out. I tried to write down as much as possible to try to troubleshoot any of your questions. Good luck. Please get all of them done by Monday. Thank you.